Actually, I think an example is going to make this all a lot clearer. So let's just say that before class, I went to get a cup of coffee at Oren's Daily Roast, which I did. This is late in the evening for me, okay? And at Oren's Daily Roast, a small cup of coffee costs $2. And I paid in cash. So this is a money transaction. How would we characterize this in these balance sheets? Well, there's basically two participants to this thing. There's me, and there's Oren's Daily Roast, the company that was selling me the coffee. And it's pretty clear what happened in terms of the coffee, okay, that I made an expenditure on the coffee. And that Oren's Daily Roast has a receipt on that. They sold the coffee, good or service, okay, that was a source of funds. And that I just told you that this was all done with money, okay, so that was dishoarding for me of $2, okay, and that $2 went right in the cash register, and so that was hoarding for Oren's Daily Roast. Okay. You can see here in work, in practice, both of those rules, right? The rule number one, every use has a corresponding source. Okay? Rule number two, every use has a corresponding source on another agent. Okay? So to describe one simple transaction is always going to take at least 4 entries in order to explain this. And it's just a consequence of these rules here. We're building intuition. That's what this is about. It's building intuition about the inside character of money, about the interlocking quality of the monetary system, the money flow character of it. These are not natural intuitions, particularly for economists, okay, who've been trained to see money as a veil. Okay? We're not seeing money as a veil. We're seeing money as the entity we're focusing on. We're going to be ignoring for most of this class stuff that's above the line and focusing on stuff that's below the line. Here, there's not much action below the line in this simple money transaction, but watch the next one. Watch the next one. The next one's a credit transaction. Okay, the credit transaction gets kind of interesting already. Okay, so let's say that after class, I go to Varelli and I order their wonderful lamb burger and some other things, and the bill comes to $20, and I charge it. I charge it. Well, let me erase all of this, because now we're going to need somebody else. There's not just me and Varelli. There's also the MasterCard. Put MasterCard in the middle. Okay, you see where this is going, right? I'm doing what I did to begin with, okay, and MasterCard is being kind of like the bank. They're the third party and so forth. So here's me. Probably never thought, how exactly do credit cards work? Well, I'm going to show you. And here's Varelli. Okay. The simplest part of the whole thing, okay, is the dinner. Okay, expenditure on dinner. Okay, and a receipt for dinner. Okay, but what happened at the end of that dinner? Okay, what happened at the end of that dinner was they brought me a slip and I signed it. I just signed it. What was I doing? I was not paying. I was borrowing. This is an IOU. I'm promising to pay. Who am I promising to pay? MasterCard. Exactly. I'm promising to pay MasterCard. Okay, so that's an IOU, so that's borrowing. Okay, so there's an IOU here. And that becomes a financial asset of MasterCard. I'm keeping these lined up in those rows there, okay? So that's my debt. It's an additional debt for me. It's an additional financial asset for MasterCard, okay? But why did Varelli say, okay, fine, you're free to go now? Okay, they got something. They got something. They didn't get it from me, okay? They got it from MasterCard. They got a IOU. And I'll put MasterCard there just to make clear that there are two people borrowing here. Okay. It's an IOU. That MasterCard has an agreement, okay, with Varelli that if I sign, okay, MasterCard will make good on this. MasterCard will pay for my dinner, okay? But they're not paying for it right away necessarily, okay? It's not necessarily, I mean, there's some smart cash registers where it immediately comes out of some bank account somewhere, okay? But they're not paying it right away, but they're paying it faster than I'm paying it, okay? If I have a credit card that I pay at the end of a month sometimes, okay? But this merchant wants their money right away. So perhaps next day or at the end of the week or something. So this is how the actual transaction works, first of all. Okay, this is how the dinner gets paid for. Everything else, though, is below the line, and there's a lot below the line because there's a couple of IOUs that have to be settled here. Notice how this payment happened by an expansion of credit. Okay, an expansion of credit, in fact, 2 credits. Okay, there's a lot more credit in the world now after this payment than there was before. And where did it come from? It came out of thin air. Just me signing my name. That was it. Expansion of credit. So the first thing that happens to clear this credit, okay, is the next day or something, or the next week, Varelli and MasterCard do business, okay, and Varelli says, I present this IOU to MasterCard, and I want to be paid. Okay, so this is an asset, and I am decumulating this asset, and I am hoarding cash. I'm getting cash here, not Varelli, okay? So let me just I'll put a 2 next to that. This is stage 2 here, okay? Cashing in the IOU. And those things have entry points over here. Right? So that's dishoarding, have corresponding entries here. I'll put a 2 there, okay? And this is repayment here. Okay? So now, from Varelli's point of view, all done. It's as if I was paid in cash, right? Varelli says that's all done. But it's not all done. It's not all done. There's another IOU still there, okay, which is my IOU. It's not all done. From my point of view, and from MasterCard's point of view, it's not all done. There's more to go, okay? And that happens at the end of the month if presumably I repay. And again, there is going to be, MasterCard is going to be hoarding. They're going to be, and there's going to be 3, decumulate. They're going to be decumulating a financial asset, this IOU, and using that sale of that financial asset to accumulate money balances here. Okay, and that is dishoarding here and repayment here. Okay. These are simple examples, okay, of the payment mechanism. Here what happened. Credit expanded, and then in two credits at once, and then in 2 different phases, it collapsed back down. And at the end of the day, there's no credit anymore. At the end of the day, cash was settling these debts. Cash moved, okay? Elasticity came from the credit. Discipline, these debts, though, they got paid. That's the discipline. So there's this balance. in the system always between the discipline and the elasticity.